Welcome to the Society of Cryptid Hunters podcast. Josh and David, just two regular guys with a passion and interest in our unknown and unexplained hidden world. This show delves into the latest sightings, theories, research, and stories in the field of cryptozoology. If you enjoy the show and don't want to miss an episode, please give them a follow and leave them a comment. Let's embark on this journey together and keep an open mind as we explore the mysterious world of cryptids.
All right, Josh, what episode are what are we doing this episode?
So we were debating on what we were going to discuss in this episode, David, and we want to first. I'd like to thank all of our listeners. We got a lot more fans. We started some social media stuff, doing a lot more on there. So try to build a little bit more community in the cryptid world, if you would. Like I said, we're not experts in the field, but we sure have a lot of fun talking about this stuff. While going through
We
all
are
the different things,
cryptozoologists. You gotta let them all know that we are actually cryptozoologists.
yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. But the going through all the stuff and posting everything and reading all the stories from different states, we came across the state that's just for lovers, if you will, the state of Virginia, and we came across some cryptids we like to talk about. Not really, I don't think I would say they're well known. They're not some of the biggest ones out of Virginia, but they are intriguing enough that we are going to discuss them today.
Well, we do
And
have one returning offender at the very end we will talk about that is a cryptid from
yes, a returning offender, but back to we had this discussion before, which if you stick around towards that section, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll know what I'm talking about. So,
Oh,
yeah.
and I promise you I will not go through the whole episode's topics in 15 minutes this time.
Yeah, you like to jump around there, buddy, but it's okay.
And I was gonna ask you before we get into this, Josh, have you ever been to the state of Virginia?
I have been to the state of Virginia. I've driven through it multiple times actually. Back in my
I've been
days.
I have also been to it several times, mainly the city of Norfolk.
Ah,
Uh, I'm not a really big fan of that city. I've heard a lot of people tell me that the west part of Virginia, not West Virginia, west of Virginia.
yeah.
I've heard that's really fun. I don't know. All I know is Norfolk. So, yeah, I've eaten in some places like I don't know. It wasn't for me, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that love Virginia. I'm not one of them though.
You haven't
Um,
been in the really nice parts. There's some really beautiful parts of Virginia, I will say.
I did want to tell you, Josh, just got back from squashing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to give you before we get into this. So I was out there squashing, um, walking around, and I found some bear scat, which I'm
Oh
not going
yeah.
to tell you what the actual technical term is. That I was like, that's what
You can look it
I
up.
was like, yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. And then the further I walked, I saw a sign that said bears in the area.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm leaving.
there you go. Was it
Um,
fresh?
yeah, yeah. It was fresh enough for flies to be around it, and it looked, it looked about, I would say, three at the oldest 3 4 days. So yeah, but I did want to show you that I got a new Sasquatch shirt. It's
Beautiful.
a Sasquatch Forest Ranger shirt, and
Yeah,
on
kind
our
of
new we have our new Facebook group that is now open to the public. I just posted a picture of two Sasquatch socks that I got that are very cool that I thought were awesome. That I got both
Sasquatch socks.
Sasquatch socks. Sasquatch socks.
All
Say
right.
that 3 times fast.
Goodness.
All right. Well, which one do you want to start with
Well,
today?
yeah, well, let's hop into. So we're looking at these. So there's a lot of different cryptids out of Virginia, and I'm just going to name a few, and then we'll get into the ones we're just going to discuss today. But um, some of them that kind of stuck out, which I didn't know. To be honest, I didn't even know existed. And this was also fun about digging into these topics and learning about all the other cryptids that are out there, sharing them on our Facebook group. We also have the Facebook profile, which still working on that part. We got our YouTube channel, everything else. So try to get some more videos and things, share what other people have found, and also hoping everybody else shares what they have found if we get some stuff. And also sharing events, cryptid related events that are going around in different states. When I see them, I'm going to throw them on. If you live in that area, you may not know what was happening. Now you do. We're not really in that mode of traveling to all these things yet, but I do know I'm planning next month to go to a speaker that wrote a book. So
Oh,
we'll
wow.
we'll talk about that later. It's actually not too far from here,
Hmm, of
so might check it out. Be an after work kind of thing, but we'll talk
course.
talk some Squatch, I guess. So anyway, but some of the interesting cryptids that I read about that we're not going to discuss in length because we might actually use these for other episodes. I'm thinking, but apparently there is a sea serpent that lives in Chesapeake Bay that they call Chessie, which is quite interesting. I thought. Um,
I like it.
Apparently every body of water that's somewhat large has a giant serpent in it these days. So, but Chessie apparently lives in the Chesapeake Bay. Now there's another one that similar to the Beast of Bray Road.
Hmm.
There's also another one in the area. Um, uh, anyway, I'll get back to that one when
It's not the dog man, right?
no, it's not a dog, man, but it's a giant
Hmm.
feline, if you will. It's a giant feline.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
interesting.
Um, anyway, there's witches. There's a not deer. Apparently, is a man kind of deer thing that walks around.
Like the
Yeah, there's a
Wendigo?
lot. Not that. No,
Hmm.
there's just some weird ones, man. They link Mothman into this, but that's West Virginia. Now, folks,
Yeah.
West Virginia is a completely separate state from Virginia. Not even, not even. I mean, they're close, but not the same. They're two separate things. So that's important to know that. Now, the other one, oh my gosh, before we get into the one that I'm really excited to talk about here, the Snallygaster. There's a dragon-like beast that lives in Virginia, which is interesting. The beasts of Bladenboro. I don't know why I couldn't get Bladenboro off the tip of my tongue, but that is the giant feline that lives out um, kind of in the northern part of Virginia, close to North Carolina,
Hmm.
all through
Wow.
there.
That sounds interesting.
Or I'm sorry, that would be, pardon me, Southern Virginia.
Hmm.
All my geography is off tonight. It happens when I have to record so late, and David is 2 hours difference than I am. So
Yes, I am.
anyway, let's stop blabbing on about all the cryptids that are out in Virginia. Let's talk about the ones we want to talk about today. Now, fair warning when we get to the next one, we'll debate on if it's cryptid or not, but we'll get to that. But the first one, David, we're going to get into are the Virginia devil monkeys.
I love it. I'd like you to run with the devil monkey, and I'll go with the bunny.
You run with the monkeys? Well, they're going to be hard to run with when the sightings of these monkeys are that they are very fast and they can actually jump very far. They are reported in the Appalachian. I've said Appalachian Mountains so many times, and if I butcher it, I'm sorry. I've been out of the, I've been out of that area for a while, living in the South. So
Yeah, I
the
don't. I mean,
Appalachian
I'm from
region,
Texas. I don't even know how to say it, so I don't care.
Appalachian. Yeah, there you go. So the Appalachian region of the United States. So kind of resemble primates. They're slow with a little twist to it though, that they have like a long like snout that's like a dog, kind of like a dog nose, if you will. They kind of
Monkey
some of
dog
them they
nose.
yeah, they're kind of like baboonish
Hmm.
looking
Oh,
creatures.
okay, that makes sense.
Okay. They do stand they're kind of short. They have black fur. They stand about 6 feet tall when they're on their hind legs.
Hmm.
So they do run around like giant like monkeys, and they're in Virginia, which is crazy. Baboon-like monkeys in Virginia. Now, so some believe that these are escaped zoo creatures. So while others speculate that it could be a form of a baboon thought to be extinct. So again, when it comes to cryptozoology, a lot of things that when you understand what cryptozoology is, it is the study of an unknown creature. And a lot of times when we, like the giant squid, we believed it to be real, but then we did find out it is real. So in cryptozoology, a lot of it's like, oh man, there's really monkeys in Virginia. Oh, there's really like a giant serpent in Chesapeake Bay. Well, some people believe because they've seen something or they've heard something and they're going to research it. And that's just, I mean, that's human nature. You pique an interest into something and your passion runs wild. You want to dig into stuff like this. But so they do have an intriguing history. So these cryptids date back to like the I would say 1920s, that some of the first ones were spotted. Now,
Hmm.
the most recent one was only like in 1994. There's not that I could find that there's been any other sightings since, but the story that I found on numerous websites. One I will shout out the Spooky Appalachia. Sorry, Spooky Appalachia. I did it again. But
Yeah.
that's a check out their website. I mean, I don't know them, they don't know us, but I did find that for creatures and cryptids in the Appalachian area, spookyappalachia.com has a lot of great information. I read through their stuff. I didn't take any of their stuff, but if anything matches up, I'll still give them credit and give them a shout out anyway. But anyway, so there was a woman from Ohio driving through the southwestern Virginia near Roanoke on a stormy night, and there was a creature that leapt across the road in front of her car. Was kind of she described it as like a monkey wolf hybrid. Stood about 6 feet tall on its hind legs, had pointy ears, a flat snout, a long thin tail. Afterwards, the stories of missing pets and livestock emerged. So, along with more sightings in the area, people thought it was an escaped zoo animal and or an extinct baboon. So, they're one of the earliest books that I found that you can research this in. It was the Monsters of Virginia, The Mysterious Creatures in the Old Dominion by L.B. Taylor Jr. It explores various cryptids, including the devil monkeys and the sightings and other sightings of different creatures in the Appalachian region. God,
Hmm.
we picked the wrong mountain range. Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of a rundown of the devil monkeys, and I believe there was kind of mentions too. Like I said, livestock went missing. Now here's
Hmm.
goats, sheep, things like that. So, to me, sounds very reminiscent to what's really popular here in Texas, and that's the chupacabra.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
chupacabra has not been not that I've ever read, and that's an episode down the
That we
road
haven't
because
gotten to yet.
and that's that because there's big cryptids and there's some we can talk about, but there's others that have been researched so much that I really want to take my time and try to give the listener something new. But
Hmm.
Chupacabra is hard, Loch Ness Monster is hard, Sasquatch is
Hmm.
fine, Bigfoot's fine because there's so many different variations.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
these devil monkeys, I mean, I just
Yeah.
researching and reading stuff and finding out about these things is intriguing. There's a lot
Yeah.
of
When you Well, Josh,
yeah,
did you? I think I sent you one of the pictures of it. Um, which that picture I sent you was like crazy because it had like bat wings.
yeah,
And it had like I don't even know. I'll pull it up right now. It has six bat wings, which is
yeah,
quite ridiculous.
yeah.
It's a
There's
ridiculous amount of wings, I think.
those pictures
Um,
you sent me of everything looked ridiculous. I mean, they were cool, but I
I
mean,
think the one I sent you, I think is really cool. Like it's a fun
yeah,
picture. I looked at a bunch of pictures online because I always do that before episodes. I look at like what would Google show me in their Google image of what these would look like, and it's always like, oh, this is interesting.
yeah,
Um, and this one is very vague. There's not a whole lot of accounts on it.
nah,
In the world of what we deal with, it's very little, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, we talk a lot about the folklore of things, I've said that a lot of episodes, and that's what intrigues me is the history of
right,
people telling a story that keeps it going on and on and on. And if
right,
anything, I like to be a storyteller when it comes to some of these cryptids
right.
because who knows if they're real or not, but to share that story and pass it along.
Yeah,
That's been
but
happening since the 1920s on this one, so it's really
with
cool.
this one, I didn't see that. I didn't see that very much. Like there wasn't very
No,
much on it.
yeah.
And when you sent it to me, I was like, what?
So check these
Um,
out. Look what I found.
but since there's not much on this, I wanted to talk about the next cryptid.
Well,
That I will.
yeah, yeah, go for it.
Except for pop culture. Well, actually, before we go to the next one, with pop culture with this, the first thing I thought of when you sent me this, I thought of Wizard of Oz
Oh,
with the
oh
flying monkeys,
the flying monkeys,
which
or
I don't care. It was like one of my favorite parts of Wizard of Oz. Like the flying monkeys were super cool.
yeah, or we'll leave it at this quote from Wayne's World. Sha, and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
That's pretty fitting, actually. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
about as
see.
relevant.
Well, I can't find any other pop culture references on this, so we can move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what else we
So
got out of Virginia? Virginia.
so the next one we're gonna talk about is the Bunnyman. And before I get into the Bunnyman, I wanted you, one time to talk about what you think is your opinion on the Bunnyman.
So I was reading this too. You sent me this one. And I'm like, what the heck? The Bunny Man. I'm like, okay, we got Mothman, we got Dog Man, we got a Bunny Man now. Well, I was reading about this, and this to me is not a cryptid at all. This is not a cryptid, but it is possibly just an urban legend story that's passed down. I do like the folklore that's behind it,
Right.
and that's kind of why we're gonna talk about it because it is the kind of thing where cryptids and other things like urban legends do kind of mix together.
Coincide, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, but this
And
one's
that's what
it's intriguing enough to talk about. While it's not a
absolutely.
creature you want to check off and go, I mean, I guess you could go look for it, but it's not a creature, or is it now? I don't know. But yeah, we'll get into it and then we'll let the listener decide on what the Bunny Man is.
Okay, this is the Bunnyman of Virginia. Josh, did you know there's an alarming number of people that have seen the Bunnyman? There's
So I've read.
like 54 people outside of like the four accounts have seen it after like the four actual recorded accounts, which is like pretty alarming to me because like the last cryptid we were talking about, it's not that many people
No,
talking about it, but
no.
but 54 people were talking about it afterwards. And I'm going to talk about it, but the more we get into it, um it sounds like a guy in a bunny suit
Yeah,
terrorizing people.
yeah.
Um And before well, actually let me start with the first account. Um a bunny man legend. He was located two incidents of a man in a rabbit costume threatening people with an axe and vandalizing reports according to 10 days apart in 1970 in Burke, Virginia. The first incident was reported on the evening of October 1970 by the U.S. Air Force Academy cadet Robert Bennett and his fiancee, who were visiting relatives in Guinea Road in Burke around midnight. Um, and the more you get into this, like he was talking about how they came up to his window and like knocked on his window, and I was just like, it just sounds like a guy in a suit that, or maybe in his pajamas or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
The more I read about this, was like, it just sounds like some guy in a suit that was
Yeah.
like doing something dumb. And the second report sighting occurred on October 29th, 1970. A construction security guard, Paul Phillips, approached a man standing on a porch of an unfinished home in Kings Park west of Guinea Road. Phillips said the man was wearing a gray, black, and white bunny costume that was about 20 years old. He was 5'8" inches. The man began chopping at a porch post with a long handled axe. And again, the last instance they were talking about a man with an axe, like I get it. Like, yeah, maybe there's a guy in a bunny suit with an axe. Um, I'm gonna jump to the final one. Uh, anyway, yeah. So all these incidents I was reading, it sounds like a guy in a suit, like. So you can go to Walmart and buy a bunny suit that looks like pajamas, right? And it
Hmm.
just sounds like every instance, like those, there's four of them, but every instant is just sounding like some guy. wearing a bunny costume, maybe from like a Halloween store, and
Yeah.
was scaring a bunch of people, and that's how like that was probably mentally unstable, or maybe he's a serial killer, maybe he's just some dude that's whacked out. I don't know. Maybe he's all on drugs. I don't know. But I agree with you, Josh. Like when I was reading this, like this doesn't sound like a cryptid. It sounds like some dude hyped up on drugs or just whacked out crazy,
Well, this is this
messing
is
with these people.
this is completely a classic urban legend story that you could hear told in almost any state other than there's a Bunnyman included. Did you mention the school bus or the mental patient bus? Did you say that?
Oh, like in the movie,
Hold
Trick
on.
and
So
Treat.
no, hold on. So the there's a bridge where all these sightings are happen
Yes,
in
there is a
Fairfax
bridge.
County.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't
called
mention that one.
Colchester Road is where this location is outside of uh it's in Northern Virginia near in Clifton is the area. So there there was a urban legend. It's a thing where there was a bus full of mental patients and it wrecked and they all got away. They all ran away, but then they were all captured except for one. And they're saying that that one is that one that was escaped. His name was Douglas Griffin, and after the crash, he disappeared and weeks passed. And then there's dead
Oh
rabbits
yeah,
found all
that's what
over
they
the
said,
place.
that he was the guy that actually did it. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently they reported. So the Halloween night, kids would go to the bridge, and this is like a tradition now. So, like I said, classic urban legend. Okay,
Well, it's just like that
Halloween
movie.
night at midnight, go to the bridge. You'll see the Bunny Man. You know,
Well, it's
it's
just
just
like Trick and Treat. They were all in all the kids were in holiday. It was on uh Halloween night, and they're all in costumes, and they were in a school bus.
yeah, exactly.
There's
But yeah, I
also
mean,
one from. Go ahead.
so we had the same story in Ohio, um,
Mm.
where I went to college at Bowling Green. There's a road. It was that we would go to. I'm not going to name the road now because there's houses built on it now, but we would go out there and there's some weird stuff that it's just houses on the outside, but nothing on that road except for woods. But the story was there's a couple incidents where there was a bus that wrecked and people died in it. And if you
Mm.
walk through the woods, there's a bus out there. There's really a bus out there. And then
Well,
there's also a there's also a tree with you can see rope still on it where they said there somebody hung himself out there. Really weird.
yeah.
No, it's
Well,
yeah. So I actually have video footage one time where a bunch of me and some friends went out there and I took my giant camcorder with the VHS tape in it. That's how long ago it was.
oh wow,
But
that's long.
yeah, so we were recording and I could see lights down at the end of the road and I'm recording and thinking nothing of it. So when we got back to where we lived, we watched the tape just want to see what was going on. And literally, when that scene where I'm filming the light, somebody said something. Next thing you know, the lights that we cut. Now I couldn't see this when I was filming it. I didn't see it until I was recording it. The light got bigger and it came towards me and it split into two, like headlights. And it had a weird, like revving engine noise when it did that. And
It's
everybody that
really
was
cool.
watching it lost their minds when that
I
happened.
wish you saw that tape.
I, I know, and it's honestly, it's probably on one of those the smaller tape things that
Oh
you have to
yeah,
put
yeah.
in an adapter. I had so much really cool stuff from that I used to record, but I don't have it now. But yeah, so like I said, the urban legend thing with the bunny man is very kind of similar with the school bus
Well, so
situation and
what I
everything
want to
else.
talk about, actually, this goes is what you're talking about, is a shout out to TJ, the guy that did the guitar work for our intro to our podcast. So he used to work for a mall, and it's somewhere on the internet, and I'm gonna butcher this. And TJ, you can when you listen to this, you can come and talk to me about it, or message me. But I guess like there was two dudes. It wasn't him. It was some other guy that used to fall asleep in the security guard car, and they knew that he was doing that. And it was like really late at night, and so these other two security guards dressed up in a chicken costume and went up in and videotaped it and scared the crap out of him. and it's somewhere on YouTube, but
Oh,
it's so funny because like he's like asleep and they run up and just scare him, and that's what I got out of this. Like it's a bunch of stupid kids that are like trying to scare people
yeah.
in Halloween costumes. Like yeah, but we how many times have you heard in the news there was some dude in like a clown costume with an
Oh
axe
yeah.
running around and
Yeah.
got arrested
That's
because
that's
like, hey,
been
that's
around
not
for
that funny.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ICP fans maybe are outside doing that on.
It's not even
You know.
that. It's kind of deranged. Like some of the videos I've seen for that, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh man.
I've seen a bunch of videos of guys on Halloween running around in clown costumes with axes. Like, what do you think's gonna happen doing that? You know?
Right.
But I did want to talk about pop culture because
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
what do you think? Josh, I wanted to tell you one of my favorite time travel movies
Oh,
involves
I know where you're
a
going.
bunny
I know where you're
man,
going.
and it's called Donnie Darko,
Yeah.
which also, by the way, premiered on Halloween.
Ah.
Which also coincidentally, I can't remember if it's the first track, or the second track in the movie, but Echo and the Bunnyman, which is a band,
Ah.
has a track on that album or in the show. I can't remember the name of the song. But I think it's the opening. It's like the killing heart will get you, whatever. I do have a friend that went and saw Echo and the Bunnyman like 16 years ago, and he said they're really good, which is a
Oh yeah.
band from the 80s. Which is a
The
really
song's
good
called
band.
the song's actually called The Killing Moon.
The Killing Moon, that's it. Yeah, and I believe it's the opening track of the movie. You should fact check on me on that. But and I was saying, uh, maybe Donnie's time traveling and showing up in certain areas and
Well,
scaring people.
wasn't it
But he
Frank
wasn't the
that
one
was
in
the
the bunny
bunny?
suit, but that wouldn't make any sense anyway though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which by the way, Donnie Darko is one of the best movies ever made. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. Frank was the bunny.
Frank was the bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank was here.
That's
That was one
Frank.
of the
Yeah, because
yeah,
he keeps showing up in Donnie Darko. He just keeps showing up.
keep showing up. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I think they made three of them, which is super stupid because the
Yeah.
writer only wrote one of them.
Yeah. I
That's
I only know the second one. I never S Darko. I didn't know there was a third. So
yeah, I think there's a third. I don't know.
I'm probably
I,
if there is, I'm glad I don't know about it, I guess.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but I was actually reading. It's funny that we're bringing this up because I read an article. I'm always reading articles about movies because we both were like huge into movies, and I was reading an article this week about the top 10 best time travel movies, and
Mm.
Donnie Darko was number three.
Oh yeah.
Well, no,
Nice.
number two was
Mm. No, there's too many for me to
Back
even
to the
try to think.
Future.
Oh well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but what do you think number one was? If Back to the Future was number two, what do you think number one would be?
Mm.
It's not going to be what you think.
Probably not. Just tell me.
Interstellar.
I
I,
guess it
I
is
I
time
thought the
traveling.
same thing. I was like, I'd put Interstellar like at an eight, and I would put Back to the Future at
I
like a
mean,
number
great
one.
movie, but yeah, but
I mean,
yeah,
and when you think of going Back to the Future, wouldn't you think, or when you think of time travel, when you think of Back to the Future first, out of any other movie?
you should. Yeah, I mean, off the cuff, yeah.
Yeah,
I did
off the cuff.
not,
Like
but
if somebody
yeah,
said name a movie about time travel, it'd be like Back to the Future. That's what you should
yeah.
like be out of the holster. Bam.
Interstellar.
No, it wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. I'd be like, yeah, it's about space, I guess. He goes through a yeah,
I mean,
anyway.
he goes through time because of the physics of it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's so much farther into it.
Yeah, we're
I
we're
did
we're
want
falling off the bunny man now, talking about Back to the Future. So that
so I did
happens in this
want to
show.
say, so there is something that is a cryptid that I don't think you're thinking of when it comes to a bunny. It's called a jackalope. Jackalope is a
Jackalope.
cryptid. It's a cryptid bunny.
I guess so. I guess so.
The
I do appreciate the jackalope taxidermy.
so I we'll get into it later, but the place I was just at, they had shirts that had the jackalope and it said "Just Believe."
I've seen something like that. Was it the silhouette where it's like running and you can see the antlers and everything?
It was just like the silhouette of like a jackalope, and underneath it in block
Yeah,
letters it said
I
"Just
like
Believe."
my I like my cryptid bits. I like the conversations I get. I got this one I got somebody brought from Seattle from Pike's Place Market.
I would say, like, up here where we're at, or where I'm at, excuse me, not where you're at, in the Pacific Northwest, everywhere they sell cryptid stuff about Sasquatch.
Yeah.
No Mothman stuff. I actually specifically looked for Mothman stuff. No, no Mothman stuff,
No.
which is
You gotta.
West Virginia, not actual Virginia. West
Yeah.
Virginia is Mothman, right?
Don't
Point
worry.
Pleasant.
We'll have another Mothman episode eventually again
Yeah, I
too.
think I
So,
think that's going to be coming up because he's a he's a big one.
ah, yeah, that's
So
one of the big
Josh,
ones.
I did want you to bring in the usual suspect, as I will coin him.
Oh, well, he may not be the usual suspect, but he's part of the family, if you will. But another creature that is part of folklore of the Appalachian region, particularly the Southwest Virginia region, very similar similarities with Bigfoot, who of course is a well-known cryptid. My shirt, Sasquatch, if you will. You got Squatch in your shirt, funny thing. But they're both described as hairy humanoids wandering through the forest. The name is the wood booger. The wood booger, yes. So basically, it was given to this. The name was given to the creature because it was named after the boogeyman. They live in the woods, but is also rumored to carry off children who wandered into the woods at night. So urban legend: kids don't go in the woods. The wood booger is going to get you. Now we've talked about a lot of different uh, bipedal hominids, the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, skunk ape, a lot of things like that. This is just another one where I did bring up in a previous episode where it is interesting how so many places have a specific name for this type of cryptid.
Bigfoot. Yeah, we keep talking
Yeah.
about this. Yeah,
Yeah. So in different areas, like it's called something else, but it's actually just another Sasquatch or another Bigfoot type creature. Bigfoot being the nickname of the Sasquatch. But these 7 to 8 foot tall humanoid creatures um, are all found in all 50 states. And I think they've even found some in Hawaii, which is, I don't know. They probably wear leis. I don't know. But
that'd be
it, it
cool.
is
Yeah.
it is interesting. I mean, I don't know. We t people obviously don't believe in these at all, but the sightings could be misinterpreted as something else, of course. But I did want to bring up the wood booger for this episode. It was also it's not as famous as Bigfoot, but it has made some appearances in popular culture. It was in the story of Wood Booger. It's a it's featured in a local attractions in Northern Virginia. I'm sorry, Norton, Virginia is where the Wood Booger is going to be located. There's also a restaurant in town called the Wood Booger Grill.
I did see that.
Yeah,
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 they serve burgers apparently.
yep. And I know I have some friends on our site that wants to go on a Bigfoot hunt expedition. I don't know when, I don't know where, but maybe that's something that we need to do sometime, do a live
Someday we'll
show.
be there.
Yeah. But it was on the show Finding Bigfoot. They did an episode in the area.
I did see that. Yeah,
Yep. And so the
in Norton, Virginia, not North Virginia, Norton, Norton, Virginia.
yep, yep. So but yeah, there's I got some sightings of the wood booger too. I mean, this it's not like a small run of the mill thing. The wood booger's been heard of. It's located in Southwest Virginia, particularly around Norton and Wise County areas. There was a video from there, and that's kind of why the Finding Bigfoot team went and
Yeah,
investigated it.
yeah. Well,
They do expeditions there too, out of
I'm
out
watching
of
this video right now while you talk.
oh cool. Yeah, maybe we can post that.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So witnesses describe it as a big, bulky humanoid standing 7 to 8 feet tall, covered in brown or black fur. They mostly happen when people are hunting, hiking, or they're near wooded areas. It was on Animal Planet's Finding Bigfoot, featured the wood booger. The episode is actually titled "Virginia is for Bigfoot Lovers." So if you're looking for that one, that's the name of it. Watch the wood booger on there. Um, watch the Finding Bigfoot crew. Check them out. So it's and actually Norton, Virginia is designated a local recreation area as the Wood Booger Sanctuary. So just
Hmm.
like Old Champ up in Lake Champlain, it's
Old
protected.
champ.
So despite lacking any scientific evidence, the legend persists, and the town of Norton even has a annual Wood Booger Festival that celebrates the enigmatic figure. Put that on the list of things we need to do. Go to the Wood Booger Festival. Um, So the Beast of Gum Hill video is probably what you're watching. Is the video that triggered its popularity and more people were made aware of Woodburger because of this. So and that's the video that got the Finding Bigfoot people to go watch it or to
Yeah,
go
and
investigate.
we will
Yep.
post that on our new Facebook group.
Yep.
So go check that out.
Yep.
And I did watch that, and I remembered seeing that. I don't know if I saw it on YouTube or if I saw it on that show. I've seen a couple episodes of that show. Um, but I did see that show, and when you watch that video, very interesting. Um, it's very much in the back perspective of the video, so there is that part of it. However,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, I do love the fact that like every area has their own name of the Bigfoot. Like you started this with this because yeah, I mean, maybe there is a some sort of cryptid out there that is a
More to investigate for sure.
more to investigate because I know in one of our other episodes you were saying that um I always say where are the bones, but like yeah, I mean maybe they're all out there. Maybe they're out there in the middle of the woods and that's it's very possible. There is very possible there is a humanoid person that looks like a man that's that big that's out there in the woods because I'll be honest with you. When you're out in the middle of the woods, like I was just out there, you hear a lot of things, a lot of weird things.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. And then you start walking more, and then you think like somebody's following you. You don't know. There might be something following you. And then your mind starts messing with you. But then you start seeing things too.
It's smelling
Okay.
them.
And then you start smelling them. And people will tell you, like, oh, well, that was you, being tired and you're out in the woods and you were dehydrated, whatever. And then you camp. And then you wake up the next day. And then you hear it again. You're rested. You just ate. You just had water. You just had food. You just did everything. And you're out there, and then you hear the same sound again. Maybe you did hear him.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that the Woodburger, if you want to find them, it's in Virginia. And Virginia is a place with a lot of cryptids, and I'm glad we covered them in this episode.
And I'm glad we brought up Virginia. I like talking about places that I've been to because I have been to Virginia. You've been to Virginia. I didn't know you've been to Virginia.
Well, yeah.
Uh, but it does make sense. You being a native of Ohio.
Well, I used
Um,
to one of my best friends lived in Virginia for a bit. His dad had some land where we'd just go out and shoot and ride four-wheelers and fish. It was great. So
yeah, and
close
that's
to
what I love.
Roanoke,
Was that on the not West Virginia, but the
southern
west side of Virginia?
southern
Okay.
area near Roanoke.
And if you're out there in Virginia, and I'm sure you're gonna hear me say that I cannot stand Norfolk, and you're gonna be like, I agree with you. You should experience the rest of Virginia. And I'm there with you. Maybe I'll go down to South Virginia and do what Josh said and go fishing. Maybe I'll go to West Virginia. I've also wanted to go to the actual state of West Virginia. Um, I would
Beautiful
like to
state too.
actually, yeah, I would like to experience all that. I have not yet. I would like to go to that side. That would be really cool. I am a huge fisherman, Josh. I didn't know if I told you. I'm on vacation this week, and I went fishing. Actually, caught some fish. They were
Nice.
very small, probably about the size of our hand. So I threw all of them back. But I still say that a good day fishing and catching small thing is still a better day working.
Yep. Yep. That I agree. I can agree with you on that.
Excuse me. The term is a bad day fishing is still
Oh,
better than a good day working.
yeah.
So I don't.
You almost did a Biff Tannen there.
Yeah, I don't care. Like if I catch anything when I'm fishing, I'm happy. Straight
Yeah.
happy.
Yep.
Even if it's a little one that I throw back, like that's all I care about.
Yep.
So Josh, um, let's wrap this up. I wanted to ask you one question that you didn't know I was gonna ask you. Who would win in a fight? The bunny man or this weird monkey devil man?
I'm gonna go with the bunny man. He's got an axe,
I thought the
but
same thing, but I also think that the bunny man is just not a real person, and it's just a person running around in a costume. So I
yeah,
actually thought that the cryptid would win
maybe,
because
maybe
he would
they're
have
pretty
jumped out of a
fast and
he would have
yeah.
jumped out of a portal and
Well, I
killed him,
don't
then
know
jump
if
back in his portal.
any accounts of any attacks of the devil monkey. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's just not enough information on the Virginia devil monkeys to make that. So I might, I don't know. I might have to. There's a lot of accounts on the bunny man, so I'm gonna stick with the bunny man on that.
Well, Josh, so if
Yeah.
you're out there, listen to us and check out our new Facebook page. And Josh, thank you for this. It was fun. It's good to
Yep.
see you again.
Yep.
And
Follow us on
just remember,
Spotify. Follow us on
Rumble.
any other platforms you can find us on right now. But Spotify is the best bet. And then if you follow us on X or follow us on the Facebook group, that we do post all the links to all the shows when they're done right there. And you can set it up for notifications. Like and subscribe everything you can because we do not get paid for doing this. And we're doing this just for fun. So likes and subscribes and all that fun stuff helps us out a lot. Uh, get it out there.
And last thing I wanted to say is me and Josh always say like text us, like message us like your stories of cryptids in your local areas. Like text us those stories, that those campfire stories, those Boy Scout stories, the stories that you went camping and you heard. Text us those stories, message us those stories because we want to hear those things because we have some that we grew up with, but we're not in the same states that y'all are at, the same countries or wherever you're at. We want to hear those stories. So message us all those informations. Let us know because we want to hear it. Josh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And especially if you encountered the bunny man, I want to hear that story.
Later.
Later.